This is a little bit different. Today, we're going to be talking about upgrading your car stereo system. But first, roll that beautiful bling footage.
Yeah, yeah. Out here banging up and down the street, slamming it to the ground. Big subwoofers are getting loud. You can feel the booming sound. Getting ready to go. Got it shined up for the show. Power's charging, amps are amping, gonna let the woofers blow. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. We got more at home. Another one bites the dust. Wires are glowing and the amps smoking. Subs are cherry red. Let me keep jamming, gotta keep the bass fan. Gonna go hard till they're dead. Full power, gotta let it go. 20 hertz in the floating hair. Sparks are flying, voice coils are frying, and the smoke is in the air. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. Hey, we got more at home. Another one bites the dust. Got it. Got it. Boom. Yeah.
What's up, guys? So, on this fine Saturday evening, I know it's not Sunday. Bobby B is going to call me out on that eventually because he always does. He'll be like, why? Well, the answer to that question is easy. Why is because tomorrow I'm going to be at a show and I don't know what time I'm going to be back. I may run a live stream from the show. I don't know yet. It's up in the air. Let's put the chat window up on here so you guys can see the chat. So today, and there he is. I told you. Why? Yes, Bobby B. I know. It's a why, brother. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a show in Crane, Missouri from approximately noon to 6 at Rick's Car Audio, excuse me. And I don't know what time I'll be back. I will be probably do a live cast from there sometime. I don't know when. So you can figure sometime between noon and 6. We're doing a live stream from Rick's Car Audio in Crane, Missouri. There is a benefit show for him there. He had, I believe, he's got cancer, and so we're doing a thing for him down there. Should be a hell of a show, though. I think the last I saw on the list, the attendee list, was like 70 people attending. So there's going to be a pretty good crowd there. That was all people, probably people that are going to be bringing vehicles. So there's going to be at least, I would say, minimum, there's going to be at least 15 or 20 badass cars there. And of course, mine will be there as well. I wouldn't call it badass, but there's going to be a bunch of really hot cars. And one of our teammates has already said he's going to send the windshield tomorrow. So there's going to be a windshield explosion tomorrow. And he can absolutely do that. There's also going to be one of the guys from Carmel's crew will be there as well with a van. And that sucker does 160 plus. So it may send the windshield too. Who knows? I hope he don't because he ain't, unless he plans on doing it. But it is what it is. Um, so let's see here what's going on in the chat today. Uh, First of all, let's just throw him up there because first man in the building gets the benefit of being on the screen for a long, long time. Uh, Today, we're going to talk about upgrading your car audio system. I know that's kind of a thing for the whole channel, but what we're going to do is to sum up the all of the different aspects of upgrading a system to something aftermarket. Maybe it's just adding a Bluetooth system so that you can Bluetooth to your car. Maybe your car's old enough it doesn't have that option, or maybe the stereo is just blown and you want to put Bluetooth in there. We're going to cover stuff like that. Getting a large screen put in your car so you can have that thing that's kind of like all the newer cars have in your older vehicle. We'll talk about DSPs. We'll talk about amplifiers. We'll talk about speaker and speaker placement. We'll talk about subwoofers for the small and the big boy type stuff, all kinds of things. So that's the subject matter today, guys, just to get you guys filled in on what we're covering. It's the whole spectrum of slight factory upgrades all the way to 160 plus dB SPL systems and everything in between. We're going to talk about sound quality as well. So you guys get your questions ready, your comments ready, get your input ready so you can feed me stuff and keep me going because I eat comments and spit out information. Now, let's head over to the comment section and see what's going on right now. PSC said, "What's up? What's up, my friend? Glad to see you in the house." PSC says, "The Colorado Ped Patrol YouTube channel used another one, Bites the Dust." I'm glad to hear it, man. It's a good track. Now, I remade that track. In case you didn't notice, that was not the way it normally goes. So I rebased the track first, and then I ran it through an AI about 300 million times, and then I got something out that sounded close, and then I ran that back through the AI and done a bunch more stuff to it. Then I pulled it out, ran it through Audacity, did some stuff to it, ran it back to it's back and forth, filter after filter after filter. And I finally, I rewrote all the lyrics. So there's that. And then I made a song out of it. And that's what you heard on the intro. If you haven't heard it, if you came in late, don't worry. You can always watch it later. It's just a 2-minute song. But let's see what else we have to say. Bobby B said it's not Sunday. I agree, Bobby. It is definitely not Sunday. Made a steal. Oh man, I missed that one. Bobby says, "Why? Why not, Bobby?" Made a Still show went good first day. Was that today or I don't know. I can't keep up with some of these big shows. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Let's see. Franco Quaid said, "Hello, everybody. What's up?" Rick Ross said, "How you doing? How you doing? And how are you doing there, Rick Ross?" Jason's in the house. Jason always got good answers and some good observations. Very smart fellow, this cat. I'm extremely anxious to get this health issue out of the way. I miss going to shows so much. Yeah, we're gonna keep working on it, man. We'll get it done. Keep stabbing it until it's dead. That's my theory on life and everything. That's the answer to the question, right? Is how do you deal with it? You just keep stabbing it until it dies, and then stab it a few more times just to make sure before you walk off because you don't want it popping back up behind you and eating your brains. That's not good. Oh, I heard one of those. You know how those things stick in your head? Some people say something that sticks in your head forever. I got one of those the other day. Someone said that hunger is the best seasoning. I thought about that, and I was like, that's dead on perfect right there because when you're hungry enough, it don't matter how bad it tastes, it's going to be real damn good. It's like the stuff you normally wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. You're all about eating that whenever you're hungry enough. You'll eat some dirt if you're hungry enough. And people have eaten shoes and each other and everything else because they get hungry enough. So yeah, hunger is the best seasoning. I love that line. Let's see what else we got going on in the comments. Oh, it was today. Okay. My bad. I had no idea. I knew it was happening somewhere, but I didn't know. I don't know. I've had so much crap going on in my life the last week. I'm barely able to keep my head screwed on. It's just wanting to fall right off. You know what I'm saying? We spent over 14 hours in the ER waiting room to see the doctor for about 10 minutes. And the doctor was rude as hell to me the whole time I was in there. And so, yeah, I went away from that with just a terribly bad experience. And um, yeah. And then that followed up by having to go to see my doctor the very next day, which was technically the same day because no sleep, blood sugar's been going crazy, all that stuff, So I have, yeah, I'm not 100% right now, man. I'm not. Um, the thing is, though, I got out there and put the fur in the top of the Tahoe. I got that done. I've been wanting to do that, and I've just been trying to find the right stuff. And it's got a little bit of a padding to it, just a tiniest bit. Um, Stuff feels awesome. My wife wants me to wants a blanket made out of that stuff. Really cool stuff. You saw High Five Vega do a live from the Kicker Show. Big D was there. Oh, really? Over in Oklahoma, man. The QS. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah. No, I need to dig that up and look at it. See, I don't live all that far from there, but uh, traveling expenses can get pretty extreme whenever you don't have much income. So just a little bit like gas money to go to the crane show tomorrow. That's a thing I had to plan for the last month to have that and to have my gas money and my entry fee for one class and have a little bit of money to go to the restaurant that night. Because we're all the Savage Sounds guys are going to be going to the restaurant, and I want to be able to have enough money to go in there and buy an hors d'oeuvre or something, drink and some fries or something. So I don't look like a total retard sitting there with no food. Um, and I had to plan for this little occasion the whole month, all month long. I've been saving just enough to be able to make this happen. So going to Oklahoma, that's some money, especially driving a base rig. So, but I would like to have gone. It just wasn't really in the cards right now. Things are looking up though, guys. I had Monster Energy get in touch with me. They sent me an email and they're wanting to do something. So maybe that'll turn into something cool. Who knows? Um, PSC said I'm not giving up by a long shot. If I get I got the eye of the tiger, the heart of the lion of Judah, heart of the lion of Judah. Cool. Um, no, man, you can't give up because what's the point? Keep running their head into it. You'll eventually get through there. You just got to keep doing it. Failure is just what happens before you succeed. It's not like the end. Failure is not the end. Failure is just the last step before success, right? It's just that simple. I don't. I take on all kinds of crazy stuff that I never thought I would do. Because that's how you learn. That's how you grow, right? So if we're going to upgrade a stereo system, now let's talk about that a little bit. First off, there's a few reasons why somebody might want to upgrade a stereo system. One of those reasons is it doesn't have the features that you're looking for. If you got a car that's like from the late 90s back, odds are it doesn't have Bluetooth, and being able to get that in a vehicle is kind of a big deal anymore because radio stations are absolutely horrible. Horrible. Nothing but commercials. Everybody hates it. You get 10 songs, they play the same 10 songs over and over again, and every time they play one of those 10 songs, they play 20 minutes of commercials, then they play another one of those 10 songs again. They do that all day long. That's depressing. We don't want that. So Getting Bluetooth in your car. There's a couple of ways you can do that. One, you could change out the head unit and put a new head unit in that has Bluetooth in it. Two, there are certain devices you can connect to your factory head unit that'll give you Bluetooth in the head unit. That'll allow you to keep the rest of your speakers and stuff, all that stock, and still get Bluetooth. Three, you can put a DSP in your car that has a Bluetooth connection in it so that you can Bluetooth straight to the DSP and not even use your factory stereo system. Just run your DSP to amplifiers and speakers throughout your car. It allows you to do stuff like I do with my tablet on my dash connected to that. It's a wonderful thing. So getting Bluetooth in your car isn't hard. It's a matter of deciding how you want to do it and which is going to work best for you. Another options or another problems with old car stereos is the sound quality may not be the best. It may have a really bad signal. It may have a sum signal. It may have not a sum, but an inverted signal. It may have a weird EQ built into it for the factory stereo. And if you're pulling a signal straight out of that thing to an amplifier, you're just amplifying that problem. And then some stuff for more modern cars has got the sounds for all the vehicle built into the stereo system. So your door chime and your turn signal and your hazard light and all those different things that make noises come through your stereo system. Now, when you pull a line level converter off of that and you pull the signal out of that to run to your amplifier, you're now amplifying all those noises. So your door chime will go bing bong, bing bong, bing bong. Yeah, all that stuff gets super loud. There's devices, line output converters that are made specifically for that problem that route all those signals into a small speaker that you can put under your dash and then give you a nice line out to go to your amplifiers. You can also do all that with the DSP too. There's lots of ways to figure that problem out, but it's something that you might run into, especially if you try to go the economic way, meaning you just put a stereo in, put a line out converter and run it to an amplifier, right? Or, use factory stereo or line out converter to an amplifier. That's the cheapest way, but you have to deal with the tiki-tiki dong-dongs, or you can kill those sounds completely, and then your door doesn't make any chime, your tiki-talk doesn't make any noise, none of that stuff makes any noise. I actually like that way, but a lot of people want to hear that stuff for whatever reason, because crazy people, they're crazy, okay? So getting the head unit lined out is something that's going to be figuring out which way you want to go and how you want to go about getting there. And once you've solved your signal path and you've got that signal out ready to go to amplifiers, you can do a couple of things. You can run it you can run it to an amplifier and get going with that using the stereo's controls as your ability to adjust the sound, bass, treble, mid-range, left and right, back and front, the basic stuff. Or you can run to a DSP. And of course, sometimes a DSP can handle the stuff we were talking about before. You can even use the DSP as the entire sum of all of that. But you still want to run a DSP because that gives you the ability to do many, many more things. Instead of being able to adjust the treble and the bass in the whole system, you can now have a complete EQ for each individual speaker in the car. And since each of those speakers in that car are located in a different space and pointed at you in a different way, like the one over here may be pointed mostly this direction, and the one over here is kind of pointed at your head. So although they're getting the same signal, they're going to sound different to your ear holes. That's where the DSP comes in. You can dull this one over here down a little bit, and you can brighten this one over here up a little bit. And so that when they get to your ear, they sound like the same sound signature. So it helps to fool your brain into thinking you're in the middle instead of off to one side, okay? Also, time alignment can do that as well. And time alignment allows you to delay this signal on this side and give time for this one way over here to get here. And then when it gets here, it plays it. So that's the time delay to allow your brain again to think it's in the middle between the two channels. That works front to rear, side to side, all that stuff. So it's a big deal. You can also use phasing. Flipping the phase on one side can help pull your center image around. But in order for you to do all this stuff, you need a DSP. And that's where things get cool. Let's see what Jason had to say here. Why the heck did auto manufacturers try to save 50 cents by not using separate chime device? No kidding. Wouldn't integrating a chime into the radio cost about the same? I don't know. It makes upgrading hard. It makes upgrading terribly hard. The reason I think is there's a couple of reasons. The first reason is weight. So, and they go through the trouble of saving ounces. So saving half a pound is a huge savings in weight. And I know we don't think about weight. We don't care about weight. We just load, 300 pounds of subwoofers and amplifiers in a car and don't give a second thought to it. Whereas a manufacturer with speakers and different equipment will save ounces. They'll go through a huge amount of trouble to save an ounce because every tiny little bit of weight makes up a difference in how the car handles, how quickly it responds to the left and right turning, accelerating and braking, and also your overall fuel economy. But that's not the reason, I think, the main reason. The main reason is being able to integrate the same exact unit into all the cars. So when manufacturers went to front-wheel drive cars back in, I guess, really the 80s, front-wheel drive became a huge thing, right? The reason for that is you got your whole power plant in one chunk. You got your engine and transmission and front wheels, all the front suspension is all one piece. And that same chunk can be put in dozens of different cars, minivans, all that stuff, without any changes at all. It can just drop right in. That decreases manufacturing cost. It decreases weight and everything. It's just a really cool idea from a manufacturing standpoint. They also went from having the switches and gauges on the dash being separate to having most of it mounted in the steering stalk. Again, that steering stalk can be shoved in any vehicle and it instantly has all the stuff it needs. That drastically reduces the amount of cost and manufacturing cost. So I think incorporating all the things that make sounds in a vehicle into the stereo falls right alongside all those things. One thing can be used to do all the jobs in every vehicle. They only have to develop it once, only have to manufacture one, and they can put it in 36 different vehicles, and it will do all that stuff. So it's about economics, man. That said, it is a huge pain in the butt, and it causes a lot of headaches. Yeah, he said adding delay definitely makes your bass sound better and hit harder. I actually have my DSP in my Tahoe. I have my front stage delayed so that my subwoofers can catch up. Now, here's the thing. My subs are right here, and my door speakers are right here. There's not a lot of distance between those two. They're relatively similar getting to my ears. But the subwoofer has a bit of an innate delay because it's a large cone moving a lot of air. So it has a little bit of a let me get going problem, right? So this guy up here is just going pow. This guy back here says, hey, let's go. He's like, I got to get my big fat butt out of bed. That's kind of how the subwoofer has to deal with it. So there is a delay on the subwoofer. And if you can time it so that the front delays long enough so that the sub gets the signal early, right? It can get started moving and start making sound right at the same time as this guy does. And then you get a really tight, nice bass. And you notice the difference. When you get that time alignment just right and you allow that sub to catch up before this guy plays, boy, it brings a lot more bass into the toms and other things that you would normally be hearing mainly from the doors. It helps that sub to little bit of that subwoofer's frequency is playing just enough to put a little bit of warmth into those toms and drums and snares and all that stuff. When it's lined up right, it really has a pop to it. I agree with you 100%, Jason. Andrew popped in and he said, what's up, CAE? You're doing all right. Yes, I am. I have stuff, guys. So So I got a meter again. I got a new meter. This thing right here. Check the blood sugar. And the doctor gave me this thing. It's a pen. It's a insulin device. And yeah, you get this stuff here for a diabetic. It's like $900 a month to have these things. It's stupid. You don't get this unless you're either rich or have good insurance. We have insurance. But I got that, um, and I've been keeping records. So I'm keeping detailed records on my blood sugar. See that? On my blood sugar, or when I eat, and what my blood sugar was when I tested it, and how much insulin I'm taking, all that stuff. I'm keeping detailed records on everything. My doctor's got me on a regimen of, we're testing some different doses with this. 12, once every 12 hours, I take a shot. And so we got a plan and we're working it, you know. So, yeah. So let's see here. Am I doing all right? Yes. Let's see here. Maybe I got one for you. You can throw me a bone. I got some alternator whine coming out of my subs on a Taramp Smart 3. I done tried all the usual tricks. Okay, well, I've learned a few more things since the last time we discussed alternator whine. But I'm going to tell you what alternator whine is and why you get it at certain times. I'm going to tell you a couple of things first. We have to get that understanding, then we can figure out how to make it go away. First thing is, alternator whine is noise. Okay, when your alternator is charging, it's noisy. It makes noise. It's not it's pulsing, right? And that pulse coming over that wire going to the battery creates a magnetic field always because it's electricity going through a wire. But whenever it's dirty electricity, which it is, it broadcasts a field around that wire. Anything around that wire that's capable of being very sensitive to picking up that field will pick it up and pull it in. So that's where it comes from. While you'll notice it sometimes and not other times, is when the alternator is having to charge hard, it's going to whine more. So in other words, when your vehicle's been shut down for a long period of time, maybe you've been sitting in a parking lot listening to music with the key off or whatever, with the engine off, or it's been parked for a few days, you know, maybe you left the lights on, or maybe there's just something in there that's drawing a little bit. When the alternator has to start charging that back up, it's going to be very much more pronounced whine. So that's two elements in here. The third one is the amplifier that's giving you that signal. Either the amplifier itself is not shielded, well, it's got to be not shielded, or it would the next step wouldn't matter. If it's not shielded, then the next step matters. If it's shielded, then nothing else should matter. The amp may not be shielded, which it probably isn't. Most of them aren't. Then you got your RCA cable running from wherever you're getting any RCA cable you have that's running into the input of the amplifier. It don't matter where it's coming from, the DSP, whether it's coming from the stereo, whether it's coming from your stereo system sitting on a picnic table outside your vehicle. It does not matter. It don't even have to be hooked up to anything. Just an RCA cable running to the input of the amplifier is going to act like an antenna. It's going to pick up any noise in the air, and then it's going to send it through the amplifier and amplify it. That's where the noise comes from. Anything you're running through that makes noise is going to cause this to happen. Now, on better amplifiers, probably most of your kicker stuff, the higher end stuff, you'll have balanced inputs. And there's a name for this. I can't think of what it's called, but it doesn't matter. This is how it works. So you've got two signal samples, and one of them is inverted. And I don't know how this works exactly, but this is the signals come in, and then the amp compares the two. And anything that's different between those two, it blocks it. It chokes it, doesn't let it go through. So what that boils down to is any type of piggybacking noise that's on that line gets filtered out by default. So even if you introduce a whole bunch of noise to it, it's just going to get filtered out. It's not going to recognize it as part of the signal because it's not the same on both things. Balanced inputs. That's what it's called, and that's a very bad explanation of how it works. An amp with balanced inputs is going to have a very, very good time at fighting the alternator whine. So how do you get alternator whine? Let's say your amplifier is mounted way over here, and your battery is mounted way over here, and the power wire going to that alternator is going way over here. It's like 10 feet away from your amplifier, and your RCAs aren't anywhere close. So how do you still get whine? See, you're forgetting something. If you're running the ground through the chassis, the chassis itself is conducting power, and it is also carrying and radiating the whine. So if you had your alternator mounted on said chassis, or you have your RCAs running next to metal that's also conducting electricity and carrying that dirty signal, that can actually get it into your RCAs. The best way to deal with this, there's a whole lot of different steps you need to take. But one is checking every single ground from front to back, doubling up, making sure everything's clean because dirty grounds add more noise to the system. There's filters you can use, which I don't really recommend. Using good quality RCAs that have a good shielding on them to keep the electromagnetic interference from getting into them. And here's the thing, if you're getting a whine and your RCA cables are shielded, right? Shielded, but you're getting a whine, they're not shielded. That's just how it is. If they're shielded, there's no way the whine to come in. Unless you've got something directly super duper close to the inputs on the amplifier, if you're getting a noise, your cables aren't shielded. Or they say they're shielded, but they're not. You want good audio cables? You can either build some out of Cat 7, make them yourself, order the ends, the RCA ends on Amazon, and get yourself some Cat 7 cable, like internet cable, and build your RCAs with that because it's triple shielded. It's literally, internet cable doesn't work unless it's shielded. It literally can't work if it's not shielded because there's so much noise. The signal is so tiny that any noise whatsoever destroys the signal and the cable. So Ethernet cable by default has to be extremely well shielded just to work. Okay. Cat 7 is the best you can get right now. It's got 3 different layers of shielding on it. Rock solid. You get your RCA ends off the internet, order those guys, and build your own cable. That's one way. Another way you can go about it is use musical cables. The cables they use to connect different components together and a band, a music studios and recording studios and on stage and all that. The reason for that is the electrical environment is extremely noisy these cables are in, and guitar pickups are super sensitive to picking up anything. So noise is always a constant battle in that equipment, and the shielding that they incorporate into those types of cables is far superior to the stuff that you'll get in an audio cable from the store. Okay. So going that route is a good way to get good solid cables also. Other than that, everything else is a toss-up. But cables are a big deal. Check your grounds. Make sure your grounds are good. And pay attention to where your amplifier is mounted, what metal it's close to. Is there a lot of power going through that particular piece of metal? Think about all that stuff. That's the clues I can give you. I can't tell you what your problem is, but I can give you all that information and all those clues to help you develop your own plan of attack and also a plan of solution. Okay. Hopefully that helped you out, brother. There's a million different things. I'm just giving you the information to kind of help you sort it out. Let's go back up here. DTG said, just ordered audio control epicenter. Cool. Epicenters are cool. There's a bunch of manufacturers out there that build stuff, basically does that same type of thing. An epicenter is cool. You can make something that wouldn't have any bass have lots of bass. Then you can do stuff like, check this out, guys. Listen to this. I want y'all to listen to a little bit of this track. It's pretty cool.
Chest, riding through the city, yeah, that's my quest. Got my crew in the bag, feeling that groove, hands in the air, everybody move. Now that drop, it hits like a wave from the stage to the crowd. The energy we crave, turn it up loud. Let the speakers blast in the space head vibe. Let's make it loud. I love the bass, that rumble you feel in your soul. I love the bass, it moves me like nothing else can do. Always feeling independent, but with a sound that keeps me grounded. But what you say, baby? Open beats that lift me high. They for me that way. Like the drop, it hits like a wave from the stage to the crowd. The energy we crave, turn it up loud. Let the speakers blast in the space head vibe. Let's make it loud. I love the bass, that rumble you feel in your. I love the bass, it moves me like nothing else can do.
What did you guys think of that? Give me your input on it. I'm going to go back to reading here. I just wanted y'all to hear a little bit of that. Let's see here. So, Jason, yep. I'm catching back up. All right, there's that and that and that and that. And that. Just ordered. All right, yeah. Jason said, Andrew, did you try running a different signal to the amp, like a phone jack to RCA line in? That's a good way to start. But the fact is, unless the amplifier is broken, which is always a possibility, though not very likely, the signal, the noise is being introduced from the RCA jacks on the amplifier out somewhere. So if you replace the RCAs, you should get no noise, provided that whatever you're using to move your test signal through is shielded. You should get no noise. And I'm going to tell you, phono, those headphone jack deals, the little, I don't have one handy. Those little wires are absolutely not shielded, and they are notorious for introducing a ton of noise. So that might not be the best option unless you have a actual shielded one. But here's the thing. If you unplug the RCAs from the amplifier and the noise stops, it's the RCAs. It's that easy. Just unplug them. Once you plug them in, if the noise is back, then it's the RCAs picking up the noise. Now, figuring out how to stop that is another story. But simply unplugging them will tell you everything you need to know. Looking at 2K by them. Looking at 2K by them as well. Hold on. Wait a minute. I'm missing something. Oh, yeah. Just ordered the audio control epicenter. Looking at 2K. Oh, you're looking at a 2K amp from audio control. Gotcha. Should be a good quality thing. I don't know what their I know that their amps have been so far have been upscale. They're good. They're solid equipment, and so I would think that'd be sounding great, man. Be a good setup. Jason said you want to try to figure out where the noise is from, the audio signal or the amp power wire, and I guess there is a possibility of it being the amp power wire. I wouldn't say that's a very big possibility, but it is a possibility. Grounds, DTG saying grounds, shielding, wrap aluminum foil around it. That can work, actually. That's not ideal, but it can actually work. You can also get a wire mesh loom to put around the wire and create a Faraday cage around it. But again, just get good shielded wire, good shielded cables. Jason said, I've got the Epicenter Micro, great unit. Yeah, no doubt, man. I haven't got to play with one very much. I know what they do. I actually do that myself with Audacity. I rebase music. So I do the same thing Epicenter does, but I do it at the bass level and then have a whole track that's set up that way afterwards. I think I may, in some cases, do a better job of it than the Epicenter does. In some cases, not. It just depends on how lucky I am at getting my settings just right. Andrew Lewis said RCA wire straight from the radio to the amp, no whine. Only starts whining when I add RCA bass knob. I tried 3 different knobs thinking it was the knob. Sounds like my knob must be acting as an antenna. Yeah. There's a real damn good chance of that. Now, are you using the same RCA? So you've got, as an example, you've got RCAs running from your stereo to the bass knob, then running from the bass knob to the amplifier. And now, whenever you take the bass knob out, are you also eliminating the other pair of RCAs and just running the long pair to the stereo? Or are you doing something in between those two? if you're taking out that short RCA might also be where your noise is coming from. But yeah, you're on the right path. Your thinking is good. So you're on the right trail, man. Yeah, the bass knob very well could be an antenna. Gotta go. Wife has supper ready. Get her done, man. Get that food, baby. Big 5 upgrade, yeah. 2,000 watt amp is when you put a 2,000 watt amp in, you're going to want to start thinking about battery alternator upgrades at that point. That's the very edge of what a solid factory electrical system can handle. And really, it's more than what that system can handle. But if you're figuring half time, which is what I generally do, you're looking at 1,000 or 100 amps half the time, because bass doesn't go constantly. It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. So when it's off, it can recharge the battery. When it's on, the battery and the alternator can both feed power. Boom, power, boom, power, boom, power. I call that halftime. 2,000 watt amp with the efficiencies and all that considered pulls around 200 amps. But if you're playing music on it, you could figure about halftime, so about 100 amps. And that's just for that one amp and nothing else. And if your vehicle's got a 150 amp alternator, it's only got about 30 or 40% of that alternator is left over to do something besides run the vehicle. So, that doesn't leave you much. 50 amps, 40 amps, 60 amps. That's not enough. See, that's where you need to have an upgraded alternator, and or at this stage you could also use a much bigger battery or a better battery, something that was front under lithium, the Banger 5K. Put that back by your amplifier. That's going to help compensate for all of those the lacking power. But at the early stage, upgrading your alternator is usually a better idea. It just depends on which one you can afford to do and which one is going to work best for you. But you're going to want to get more power out there for that 2,000 watt amplifier. You're not going to be seeing 2,000 watts out of it. It'll work, but you're going to be dimming headlights and doing all that stuff, and your voltage is going to be dropping and all that crazy stuff because you simply don't have enough power to run that amplifier. Jason said, I think when you add RCA bass knob, it might break the ground signal, which your amp might need. Yeah, I don't know about that, bro. I can't say. But you're right. I just don't know. I don't know. I can't agree with you or disagree with you because I'm not sure. GZ52 said, on the Focal, I see that they stay around 60 watts RMS. Is that a really conservative rating, and can they handle a clean 100 to 150 watts? I cannot speak on your question. Jason may be able to chime in. I don't know. But that is left field for me. I can, based on what you're saying in this or asking me, the information that you're giving me, I would be running 50 or 60 watts to them at most. I am a big fan of running RMS power that the speakers are rated or less. I run RMS per RMS, so if the amplifier is putting out 100 watts RMS and my speakers can handle 100 watts RMS, I'm good with that. If the speakers handle 100 watts and I give them 75, I'm good with that. I like to be above half, but less than 100%. So if you're looking at a 60 watt RMS figure, I would want to have at least 30 watts, but no more than 60 watts going to those speakers. That's how I run my shit. Everybody's different. Some people think, well, we can just put, 500 watts on it and just call it good. I'm not in that. I'm not in that crowd. So hopefully I answered your question because that's kind of out of left field. Glad to hear you're up, and thanks for the tips, friend. No problem, man. Always glad to help. Let's see here. Jason said, and thanks for the claps, man. Jason said, I would avoid the clone epicenter like devices. They seem to have crude circuit that doesn't sound as good as the genuine epicenter control units. And yes, I agree with that to a point. In the last few years, a lot of really, really good pieces of equipment have come out that are on the same playing field that sound equally as good. Now, up 3 years ago, I would 100% agree with you. There was so many crappy clones out there that were just junk. But we've gotten a lot better equipment today, and there's a lot more manufacturers, a lot more offerings that are of the same caliber. So I don't have a problem with that. There's also still a bunch of junk, mind you. If you're paying significantly less for the item, odds are it's a piece of crap. Okay, just saying. So I agree with you, but not 100%. Jesus, like any other speaker that can handle burst of higher power, I was running 300 on 2. The K2 powers. Just be careful. If you smell the voicicles, turn it down. Yeah. If you see blood, stop shooting. Yeah. It's not me. I don't like going like that. I just have my own thing. To each their own. I got guys that run 1,000 watts on tweeters and they don't blow them, somehow or another, they don't blow them. That's fine. That's just not my jam. You know what I'm saying? That's not how I roll. GZ52 said, cool, thanks. I saw some Kicker K2s on Salt 500 times 4, but I was curious about the lines between them handling a little more than rated. Usually a good driver will handle more than it's rated. The rating is not just a power factor. It's not just an amount of power, the voice coil. It also has to do with how much mechanical movement the driver can handle. So, okay, they have to factor in a whole lot of stuff to give you a rating on a speaker. Um, Not just how much temperature and how much power a voice coil can take, but when you get the driver moving in the environment that it's recommended to be in, whether it's an enclosure, infinite baffle, on your rear deck, sitting on a table, wherever it's recommended to be, the amount of back pressure it's recommended to have, okay, depending on the enclosures and all those things, then the amount of power may be enough that it literally rips it out or causes it to slam the voice coil into the motor, or rip the surround or launch the speaker out of the gap and just have it stuck out. That's a situation where you put too much power on it. Even though the voice coil is fine, you still put too much power on it. So when they're giving you those power figures, they're not just for the voice coil's thermal rating, but also for the mechanical ability of the driver to withstand that amount of power just moving through it. There's other elements at play. Jason Ewing said, howdy, everybody. Howdy, Jason. How are you today, sir? Hitman74 said, I got an RCA bass knob in my dash with a 2-foot patch cable from the head unit. Yeah. If that patch cable is not shielded, that can cause problems too. All those cables, man, it's a big deal. I had an alternator whine once, and it was not related to the RCA signal. It was just an amp ground cable. Yeah, I said that. Check grounds first. Contact got oxidized, cleaning the ground, fixed it. Absolutely. And that's because the ground is part of that system. That shielding is grounded. Wow. So if your shielding isn't grounded, it's not shielding anymore. It has to be grounded. So if you got a ground issue, that can cause issues with your shielding and cause noise. There's all kinds of elements, guys. I'm just feeding you the bits, right? The little pieces. You put those pieces together to fit your specific scenario, and you can figure out what's going on. Too much gain will cause that whine too. I'll say the higher your gain is, the more apt you are to hear the noise. But I don't think too much gain will cause a whine. If there's no whine, there's not going to be a whine at all. If there's any noise there, it's like floor noise. Okay, just that normal floor noise of an amplifier whenever you have it cranked all the way up and in between songs. Can you hear the shh, like that white noise, that shh, right? Can you hear that between songs? That's floor noise. Now, you can turn the gain down and the floor noise will become imperceptible, but it's still there, right? And you crank the gain all the way up and you get the volume all the way up and everything all the way up, then you can hear it on a clean amplifier with a clean signal and clean everything. You can hammer all those knobs to the right, and between songs, you won't hear anything. It's dead silent. And so, and the noise can be the same way. A whine coming into the system, if you turn the gain down, it's going to lower the whine to the point to where you may not even hear it anymore. But I don't think turning the gain up causes it. Personal opinion, I'm not an expert. Hitman, gain is just amplifying what's already there. If you have a small noise, turning up the gain will amplify it. Yes. This is where 4-volt or 5-volt RCA signals are good. You can run them with the gain lower. Yes. Meaning the noise is still there. You just can't hear it because it's turned down low enough that it goes away. Same thing with the noise floor. The signal's a lot cleaner. When you get a higher voltage going through that RCA cable into the amplifier, that signal is hotter, and anything that you're trying to attach to it, any noise that's collecting in that wire, is going to be a much smaller, proportionally smaller amount of noise than it would be if there was only 1 volt going through that wire. Because when your signal is small and the noise is the same size, they come to the same size. When the signal is big, this noise is still small. Now it doesn't get amplified that much. Also, you don't have to turn that gain up very much to get that the right level. So that signal stays nice and small over here, and it's not, making noises in your brain. And noises in your brain suck. Jason said, I got to go. Take care, everyone. When I see you, you have a good day, Jason. But yeah, no sky high. Yeah, no whine, sky high, $12 RCA level control. Gotcha. I have complete silence until music starts. Yeah, that's what you're looking for. That's ideal. You don't ever want your gain turned all the way up and your volume turned all the way up and all that turned all the way up. But just to see if you have any floor noise, you can do that. Don't have any tracks playing. Have the stereo on, but no music playing, and turn everything all the way to the right and listen. See if you hear anything, like any kind of hiss or buzz or hum or anything. You don't want to hear anything. Not that it's necessarily going to be an issue because you're going to have all that stuff turned down quite a bit, but it's nice to have a completely dead clean floor whenever you're like that. And that's something whenever you go to an SQ competition, one of the things the judges is listening for is zero noise on the noise floor between tracks. They're actually looking for that. Oh, shit. Are you guys having fun? I know this is an unscheduled event. Like I said, I'm doing this today because I don't know how tomorrow's going to go. And I was feeling froggy. Did y'all like that track? I was going to talk to you about it. The one I played a minute ago. I love the bass. So that track is AI created. It's all 100% AI. I didn't write anything to that. That was one. I told AI, I said, I want you to create a song about bass. And that was it. And I said, go. And there's about 15 tracks I listened to, and that was one of them. It just came out that way. That was 100%. Now, I only created a 30-second segment, and then I added some more clips to it, 30 seconds in the front, 30 seconds in the intro, in the middle, and the end, and all that stuff. But it came up with all the words, all the parts, all of that stuff is all 100% AI. That beautiful soulful saxophone playing, that sultry voice from that lady singing, all of that is AI. One more time.
Crave, drink up loud, that doesn't just blast in the space hit by let's make it last. Other things that humble you feel it. I love my leather base. It moved me like nothing else can do.
Guys, can you believe this is all artificial intelligence? Oh, sorry about that. Forgot to turn the mic back on. There was a time not long ago. Uh, there was a time not long ago that you could have argued that yes, a computer can make music. Like Casio keyboard, right? It can make music, but it doesn't have any soul, no emotion, no feeling to it, no humanness to it, no humanity to it, no pain, right? Can't make that argument anymore, guys, because whether or not it's intentional, um, there's all kinds of feeling in that.
The bass.
Listen to that. I mean, dude, that you would never be able to convince me a few years ago that that wasn't a human playing that saxophone. Crazy, right? Um, yeah, I finally figured out the microphone. I do that all the time. My bad. I thought I had certain things fixed, but I didn't, so I'm having to mute and stuff. It is what it is. But anyway, guys, I know. Hey, I'll play another one for you. How about this? This is my remake of another one by Dust. Check this out.
Yeah. Yeah. Out here banging up and down the street, slamming into the ground. Big subwoofers are getting loud. You can feel the booming sound. Getting ready to go. Got it shined up for the show. Hours charging, amps are amping, gonna let the woofers blow. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. We got more at home. Another one bites the dust. Eyes are glowing and the amps smoking. Subs are cherry red. Let me keep jamming, gotta keep the bass fan. Gonna go hard till they're dead. Full power, gotta let it go. 20 hertz in the floating hair. Sparks are flying, voice cords are frying, and the smoke is in the air. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. Hey, we got more at home. Another one bites the dust.
Shrimp on these tacos, we buy the fiesta. Guac on the side, man, you know it's the best. Lettuce and salsa, stack it high, make it pop. Crunch in my mouth, can't stop, won't drop. Scissor in, flavors cold is so sweet. After one taco, I'm in for a repeat. Bite after bite, got me dancing in my seat. Hitting up the taqueria, can't face defeat. Taco love and every single.
That was also done with AI as well. And I probably forgot the microphone again. I'm feeling kind of stupid right now, so there's that. But anyway, guys, that was all done with AI. Yeah, good times. I'm done today. I've been on long enough. I'm tired. But if you guys enjoy the content, I'm usually on every Sunday at 7 p.m. Be sure to come in, check me out, speak up, tell me where you're from, what you're into, ask questions. I'll do my best to answer those questions to the fullest of my ability. Other people in chat will also chime in and help answer questions. If you like the content, I have a lot of videos on my channel. Check them out. Hit that subscribe button. It always helps. For now, guys, peace out to everybody. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah. Yeah. Out here banging up and down the street, slamming it to the ground. Big subwoofers are getting loud. You can feel the booming sound. Getting ready to go. Got it shined up for the show. Hours charging, amps are amping, gonna let the woofers blow. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. We got more at home. Another one bites the dust. Eyes are glowing and the amps smoking. Subs are cherry red. Let me keep jamming, gotta keep the bass fan gonna go hard till they're dead. Full power, gotta let it go. 20 hertz in the floating air. Sparks are flying, voice cords are frying, and the smoke is in the air. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one goes, and another one goes, and another one bites the dust. Hey, we got more at home. Another one bites the dust.